while since you guys have seen the Diamond T, and well, in this video we're going to start building the old truck. We're going to put a 5.9 Cummins in it, F550 Super Duty axles, and a few other things. As you can see, the old motor's still in there. It does run when it wants to, and other times it don't. The head is cracked. It's been like that since I got it. We're going to have to redo the floor pans, everything in it like that. The side over there is completely gone. Most of the cab structure's gone back there. Up front here, it's not too bad. This side ain't real bad. The bed's solid, and we're just going to build a frame for it because this one's rusted in half in a few places. So I guess I'll show you the frame that we're going to build and what we're going to use because it's really cold out here, and we're going to take all this stuff off later when it warms up a little bit. 90% of the bed is unbolted except for the running boards and the one running board bracket. We're going to have to stretch the rear fenders to make it a dually, and I think the bed besides that's going to stay the same. We are going to redo the bed floor in it and fix the rust there. The bed floor's all beat up. We're probably going to delete this line too in the cab, but we'll see how it goes. The front fenders are in pretty good shape, and I think there's enough room in there for the new axle to not stick out too far. We're inside where it's not 12 degrees. This is going to be our frame material. It's 2x6 1/4-inch wall steel, being more than enough for what we're doing. The F550 axles, already set the leaf springs on there because they're ridiculously heavy, and it was a pain in the butt to get them on there. And as you can see, leaf spring pack's about 7-8 inches thick. We're going to do different wheels than these, but this is just going to give us a good idea of where everything needs to go. That's the Cummins we're going to put in it, and we're going to start cutting the metal for the frame. We're going to 45 the back of it and just put it on there because we're going to put a plate across the back of this steel, 45 it so it looks nice. And that's the saw we're going to use. So we're going to plug her in, probably turn that heater on for a little while, let it warm up just a hair in here, and get to work. The front end did get a little crispy though. That's just from plastic melting down on it. We're going to put new calipers on it and all that and have everything powder coated. These we need new ones of because there's a lot of play in the bearings from it getting warm. It didn't hurt the axle. We will replace all the U-joints and everything, ball joints, just to make sure it's safe. Now, that's where it gets interesting. No, that's a dumb idea. It's stuck. Now, hopefully that don't fall off there. We'll go around, set it on the jack stand up there. This is just temporary. That gets it where she won't fall off. Both frame rails are up where they're supposed to be. We got to get that rear end straight in there. It's a little crooked, as you can see with our level there. Gives you a better view of it. That side's a few inches further backwards than what it's supposed to, farther forwards than what it's supposed to be. Got to get that straight and get it locked down so we can do the wheelbase and make sure the front end's in the right place. Then we'll cut off the frame. The frame is 21 inches past the wheelbase on the original one, so right about here she'll be cut off, and the rest of this we'll use to box in the back because we need to get that set up so we can get some structure put in this thing, and we'll start cutting the pieces to set the old 5.9 Cummins down in there. And we got to get the steering gearbox off of the frame outside and clean up this mess so we can move that over. Now we got her most of the way in there. We jacked up the axle. I don't know why we didn't do that to begin with. It was probably because the jack was in the bed of the truck. This mark right here is center axle, and the original engine, well, you can already tell this one's 17 to center axle. The original one's 13 and a half from the front of the block to the fan, basically the radiator. So we're still a good 2 or more inches there. Now, we're getting somewhere. We are. From there to here, we're 12. sure we get this right. About 8 inches. So there's 8 inches. That means that'd give us 5 inches more room. And the other engine was 17 inches from center of axle to back of block. This one would be 26 about. Well, once we straighten it. Worst part about this engine hoist is it's on there sideways because that's how it came out of the truck. That'll give us enough to weld to there. It's too short. Imagine that. We really need more of it. We'll draw another. We'll cut some more out of it. We don't want to cut too much. This is the boring part. We just gotta keep test fitting to make sure they're gonna do right. So we're now making our motor mounts that come from here to the frame. We're not gonna use the F550 mounts, we're just gonna use some sleeve mounts. Now that we decided them stick too far in there for the power steering pump, we're gonna use our technical cardboard here and draw it out. Basically, we want it to come from the center of here down at an arch. It ends so we have room through here for a steering shaft and all that, as much room as we can possibly have in this area. Just got done welding them motor mounts in. The engine's level every which way, forwards, backwards, sideways. They're welded straight to the frame. They're just solid mounts right now. We will fix that later. This is just to get everything put together, then we'll put some rubber bushings there so it don't shake the whole truck to death. Same way on this side. It's just solid mounts. They match fairly well. They fit in there good, and they're not going anywhere because they're 3/8 foot. We're getting there. We almost got the hard part down. We got it stuck now. I knew that was going to happen. Put underneath the bed. They're 4.5 inches. Right now it's sitting about 3 1/4 off of the bed or the frame. This will probably be a little bit more lift than we want on it, but this is to get it above this so we can maneuver it where we want and get them fenders lined out. I kind of planned on putting it 6 inches over the top of the bed maybe, because I wanted the cab to have more than enough clearance for that motor. We have this piece of metal laying in here, well, standing up here, to measure from here to here, which is about 23 inches exactly. And the fender is exactly 13 inches to the outside. We're going to go ahead and add 11 instead of 10, so we have an extra inch of room. Fender edge up with a good old anger grinder real quick, and we're gonna try to tack the original fender onto this one and see how she looks. I mean, as wide as that is right now, I'm not too sure. Boy, I don't know what it's going to look like. We'll find out in about 2.9 seconds. Okay. Oh, that's gonna be a wide fender. Golly. I knew this would happen. No, don't do it up. I knew he was good. I guess the clamp goes wherever the clamp wants to go. Make sure we put this on our belt loop or something this time. Or in the floor. Dadgummit. Just don't look. Well, I guess it's just different. That's 11-inch stretch in the fender. Without that, if we put the fenders on stock, we could still clear the tires, but it wouldn't cover the tires, so couldn't really drive it on the road like I want to and haul things with it. So the best thing to do is stretch them. Looks a little different. We'll do this side here pretty soon. We just won't miscut like we did here. As you can see, we didn't mean to cut that. We cut it at 60 instead of 80, but no sense in crying over spilt SpaghettiOs. We just welded her back together. We do have to weld the fender down here. It just looks odd to me. It may be just takes some getting used to because you got a 26-inch wide fender. Probably going to stretch the front fenders on this truck too, just because we're stretching the rear and we're stretching the running boards, and we kind of want it to look somewhat right, and we don't want the front end sticking out of the front fenders like 10 inches. Well, it'd be like 5 on each side. The rear's wider than the front. We got the Diamond T's cab in here. We welded some structure in the floor because if you guys remember, there was nothing left of the floor. That's holding it together, and we're holding it up with the engine hoist. I got to remember, it's just barely balanced on here. If you put a quarter here, the whole thing would flip forward. We didn't film none of that because we did this in the pouring down rain. We had to put a trash bag over the welder to keep it from getting wet towards the last part of welding. But we got it all in there, got the cab off, and now it's in here. We're going to hopefully slide her forward without knocking the bed off or knocking anything out of the way. We may end up having to cut some out of the firewall here, but not sure yet. Just hopefully she goes on there. To get it over that, we've got it almost over it. Ooh, I knew that was going to happen. Dadgummit. They do that from time to time. They slide down the engine hoist. Stay. It ain't much, but it does keep it from coming back all the way. If I would have thought about it earlier, that's what I would have done. Okay, we're hitting on something again. No? It's a little. I think that's mainly in the front here. No, it's in the back. The hood's now on the truck. Luckily, we have about 6 inches, a little bit more actually, between the radiator and the engine. So we're going to move this engine up forward about 5 more inches so we don't have to be so far into the cab. Because, well, open the door here. We're a good ways into the cab, and I like to have room, and I know that exhaust pipe would probably be a good heater in the winter and the summer, but I don't want to have to deal with that. It'll still be somewhat further than what the original firewall was, but it won't be near that much. This engine was about 7 to 8 inches longer than the factory one. So we're gonna go ahead and move it forward and hopefully not have to be too far into the cab. The bed's now sitting where she needs to be, except for it needs to go an inch forward, but we have that room right there. Now we're gonna go ahead and move the cab, and as you can see, it's not on there straight. Line the cab up straight. We have that 1/8 inch still over there. We're gonna cut some brackets to hold the cab, get the bed and the cab level to each other, so we can then take the front clip off, pull that motor forward, and put the actual rubber mounts, because she's solid mounted right now, and we need to throw these bad boys in there. Put them bed mounts that we built underneath the bed. We got them tack welded down and the bed bolted into it so it won't go anywhere. Here's the rear ones here, and the front ones, they don't look too bad. I think they look pretty good for bed mount wise. Normally you just use a piece of pipe or a bushing. I think them give it a better look, and we'll put a piece of rubber between them and the bed so it don't rub the paint off and so it doesn't vibrate as bad. This strap here is pulling that back panel back. It's bent out. We're going to cut that out and replace that with 1/8 inch because we have enough of that sheet left to do that. And that'll make that a lot stronger and it won't be bent. And a lot less to have sandblasted. Now we're going to go ahead and lift the cab up till it's level. 1/8 inches of basically lift for the cab to fit right. So we sketched up this right here. It's just falling with the same style as these. So we'll go ahead and cut 4 of these out, then cut some 2-inch metal, put it on the inside, and have a cab mount here pretty soon. It takes about an hour or so to make these. By the time you grind them and cut them and weld them and bend the metal. We'll go ahead and cut this out, and we're going to just flip it over to mirror it so we have the same design on each side. If you don't do that, you'll end up with it a little bit different. This one's the same, and this one should be the same, but you never know. Like this is a trick to make sure your marker lines are sharp when you draw it out on your sheet metal. You just take it to, you can use an angle grinder, or you can use one of these little belt sanders and just by doing this, you get rid of all the little bumps on it, and it makes your marker lines a lot sharper and less jagged. Not one to cooperate, as to be expected. Put it in position. Here we go. It's not exactly, well, it is, isn't it? It's almost there. Needs to come up a little. Just have to put the real top part first. Okay, we're getting somewhere this time. Oh, you know. Okay, something is moving for some reason. As tight as it needs to be against the frame. Now, start struggling with it. Now we can unlatch our ratchet strap, which kind of worked. Okay. It is where it needs to be. For the most part, here with it if we want. There's no, and we'll go to the bottom of the frame probably and swoop it up through there. Yeah. A lot more work, but it gives a lot more structure, even though we don't really need it. It's just holding the grill on. The fenders don't even attach to the front grill shell. I was amazed when I cut the truck apart with the plasma cutter that there wasn't really much holding it on there. Just 2 center bolts and the weird hood piece, hood rod, I guess you'd call it. It'd be flat like that to there, but I don't really like it being just blocked off. But if I swoop it, we're gonna have another problem. Unless I do it like that. It never touch. Yeah, that's what we're looking for right there. I think that'll do. I mean, there's probably people that argue with that, but for what I'm doing, I ain't too upset with it. We're boxing it, so we really shouldn't have to care about that mess. I'm gonna cut this out. We're gonna see what it looks like. We'll make some revisions to it to make it look a little better. And we'll go from there. Get our cross member piece made, and we're gonna go over there and cut it out of the sheet metal. We do have to do some trimming because it is a little bit taller than what it needs to be, but we'll do some measuring to make sure it's exact all the way across. This is just to get an idea of what it's gonna look like. We now have both of our pieces cut out, and we've got them matched up to where they're about the same. Well, they are more or less the same. They fit in the frame. We have about a 1/16 of an inch gap on each side of fitting in there, so that's perfect to weld in. And we're gonna take our first one here. It really don't matter which one. And this, we may or may not be able to do this since it's 3 1/4 inch thick. We was going with 3, but by the time we laid the straight edge on there, it came out to about 3 1/4. We can go ahead and weld it and bend this by hand. This is not the best way to do it. We're going to have to weld the crap out of that because we have to bend all this. And, well, we can either use a little torch or we can do it by hand. There. See what we need to do. Can we even, oh, we're going to want to pull this back some. Oh yeah, we're getting somewhere now. Here we go. How far we got to where it needs to be all the way up here? Woo! Whee! There we go. We're getting there. We got one more little bend. Boy, keep transferring. Oh yeah, it's on there now. Whew. What are we hitting? We're radiator. Ain't no way we got that on the first go, is there? Might have. Oh yeah. There you go. How did I manage that? Ain't no way that's working. Boy, we might have lucked out. Did we? Center that bad boy up. Don't fall and hit me in the head, please. Okay. Almost. A little bit of a... And she's radiator cross member done. We got the cab on the frame. We got quite a bit done. In the next video, we're gonna get that front end underneath there. You guys should be seeing this on a Monday. In about a week or two, we'll have a video on the CUDA. CUDA videos are gonna be on Saturday. We have a pretty good Will It Run coming this Thursday. We're gonna get back on doing one of them every Thursday. We finally got enough videos kind of saved up to not have any gaps in content now, finally. Next video, we're gonna get the floor pans done in this thing. You'll see this on Monday. In the next video, it'll be on Monday also. She's gonna be a pretty tall old truck, but she's looking pretty good. I do believe we're going to have to stretch them rear fenders, but that'll be in the next video. And thank you guys for watching. We'll have this Ranchero here pretty soon. You guys will see it back on the road. Please consider maybe leaving a like or subscribing, because we got a lot more content coming, a lot more build series. We're going to try to get this one done pretty fast, and we're going to try to finish up the Cuda here pretty soon. It may take a couple more months, but hopefully we'll get her back on the wheels pretty soon.